Hello and welcome to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name is Jeremiah Krakowski. On this podcast, I help you grow in your life and your business because I believe that if you grow in a business that pays you money, you can live a bigger life. But you have to deal with the stuff in your life, your mindset, as it affects business. They work hand in hand. There's not a separation of business and life, work-life balance, because I believe that a big life is being fulfilled in all areas: health, wealth, relationships. And that's what this podcast is about. If you're not part of the hashtag Grow Your Life community on Facebook, check it out. Look up hashtag Grow Your Life or click the link on my website. It says Facebook group. There's over 1,000 people just like yourself that are in there that are growing in their life and in their business. And if you haven't checked out my course, Website Building Made Easy, and you're wanting to know how to build a website that gets results the first time, quickly and easily in under 7 days, this course will help you. I've distilled my knowledge of over the last 17 years of building websites for businesses that get results 6, 7, and 8 figures. I do it for clients all the time, and I put it into this course for you to do it yourself, to walk through it with me. There's a Facebook group that you get with it. There's workbooks included. If you can use Microsoft Word, you can build a website that gets results quickly and easily using that course. Now, on this episode, I want to talk to you about increasing your income. People ask me all the time, Jeremiah, I need to increase my income. I need to make more money to do X, Y, Z. And that's a great goal to have. I think all of us need to have that goal of increasing our income. And if you're listening to this podcast, you know that I talk about that making more money allows you just to do more, have a greater impact. It's not about how I can make money just for myself, but rather how can I impact the world around me. But there's practicalities involved in making more money, increasing your income. What do you do to do that? Well, the first thing you got to ask yourself is do you have an idea? If you do, great. What are you doing with that idea? And you might run up against what I often find is people are in the balance of they don't know what to do with their idea, or they have too many ideas that they can't hone in on one of them. And so you have to hone in on an idea. And if you don't know what to do, learning will help you. You need to be intentional about growing and have intention about growing in understanding of what to do. And that's what this podcast is for. There's over 43 episodes where I help you grow in your life and in your business. I give you strategies for online marketing, funnels, sales, Facebook ads, traffic. I got courses that I've created and I am creating, and I have resources that I'm putting out there for you. If there's a resource that I don't have, I'd love for you to ask me and say, hey, Jeremiah, you got some content on this? I want to have a conversation with you about this because I want to help serve you to increase your income. I'm on a mission to help over 100,000 people make $1 million in a business. And I think that is possible because there's simple, practical ways to do that work. But you have to deal with the holistic aspects of that. You have to do something that gets result. You have to set yourself up for success. Could be a business either that you're an employee in and you're helping that business have an impact on the world, or your own business. And so increasing your income is about bringing more value to the marketplace. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of those details because I've done a number of episodes on that. One I want to point out to you real quick, and then we'll get into this, is, creating content that sells, episode number 33, as well as making your ideas profitable, episode number 38. If you haven't checked that out, that's going to help you kind of hone in on your ideas. And if you don't know where to start, there's a couple episodes back here in the 20s, episode number 26, What is Your Purpose? Episode number 28, Roadmap to Your Destiny. Episode number 27, Finding a Business that Fits Your Purpose. So check those out. Oftentimes when I coach with people, and this is what I'm going to talk about on this episode, they know what they're going to do. They know how to do it, but they're in that balance of kind of in their mind between, well, a couple things I hear from people. I'm just going to tell you what those are. Either I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough influence, I don't have enough confidence, or I'm worried that other people are going to think XYZ about me, or I just don't know what to do next. And these are the 6 areas that I run into when people are wanting to grow and increase their income in a business. And so I want to address these real quickly here. I want to say this is everybody that's ever built a business, that ever has increased their income as an employee, whatever that is, they deal with these issues. So you're normal. It's normal to deal with that, but how we deal with those is what determines the result. You can either allow these to be sticking points for you, or they can be road bumps, roadblocks along the way that you can say, how can I get around these? And that's what I want to encourage you to do, is become a problem solver. Become somebody that when a problem is facing you, you intentionally work on getting around it instead of it being something that stops you. But when I talk with people, they have created in their mind a framework about how, without time, without money, without influence, without, other people's opinions or knowledge, or understanding exactly what to do, without being certain about this thing, without confidence, they can't move forward. And this is the sticking point that a lot of people that I work with deal with. Or maybe they're like, there's situations outside of my control that are preventing me from moving forward. And so that's what I want to address here real quick is the belief about that. And I want to real quickly address the knowledge and confidence gap belief. And I'm going to say this too, because there's a lot of different people listening to this podcast, is everybody has different areas that they struggle with. So they're not saying one is better than another or one is more superior than another. Everybody who deals with this stuff can get past it, move forward, and grow. And so the confidence gap deals with, well, I just don't know how to do something, or I'm not confident in doing it. And yet they might have something in their life that they're very confident about. In fact, the confidence gap really hones into the time limitation, the money limitation, the influence, or worried about what people think, or knowing. It's all about confidence, because when you have confidence that you know how to manage your time or what you're doing, time is not a factor. When you have confidence that you know what you're doing, needing enough money is, again, not a factor, because you know that you know that you know. And so I want to impart to you some confidence of what I've seen over the last 17 years of working with business owners, working with people in general, because that's really what it is. That's all that business is. It's the people business. It's psychology. And what has gotten people past every single one of these. And that's what we're going to talk about, because that directly correlates to your ability to make money and increase your income. It directly impacts it. You see, if you were confident that if you did something tomorrow that it made you $100,000, would you do that thing? Absolutely. Okay? If you were confident that you had enough time to do what you needed to do, would you do that thing? Absolutely. If you weren't worried about what other people thought about you and you knew that it was the right thing, would you have the confidence to do the things to help you move forward? If you knew that what you were doing would work, it's the same loop. The answer is always going to be yes. Absolutely, because there's certainty there. Because once we have certainty, we say, okay, I know that this is going to work. So I'm going to now move forward. I'm going to now do the things to get me to that next level. And this is what I love coaching people with. This is what I love working with people with, is growing in the area of where they are to where they want to be. And I'm confident that when I coach with somebody, whether they're listening to my podcast, because really you listening to this is a form of coaching. We're not doing it one-on-one yet. Hopefully in the future we will. Hopefully you'll be in a group program of mine, go through a course of mine. But it's a form of coaching for you to go through these episodes. And I'm confident that anybody that goes through this and applies what I teach works, because I've seen it work with hundreds of people, thousands of people. Okay? And the way to get past kind of these limitations of confidence is to grow in your confidence. And so I want you to think back to an area in your life, just real quickly, just a quick mental exercise, 5 minutes, that you had absolute confidence in what you were doing, or something that you do on a daily basis that you're super confident about, that you know how to do it and it's going to work. Could be anything. We all have those areas. For me, it's doing this content. But when I started, I wasn't confident in it. In fact, even, a year ago, I'd been doing this for a while, but I hadn't really been recording myself every day and doing that. But I knew that doing it consistently would increase my level of confidence. Playing the piano is another one for me. Everybody, confidence in riding a car. Now, I want you to think back to a time before you knew that you could do that, when you weren't confident in doing it. When you first started, maybe it's a career of some kind. Maybe it's art. Think back to before you were confident. Where was that crossover of not knowing that you could do it to having the confidence that you could do it? Where was that moment in time that you crossed over? And what happened then? I talked to a lady this week, and she said what I hear from everybody is, well, I knew that I could do the thing, so my confidence accelerated and I moved forward. And I said, okay, now think back, and this is an exercise I want you to walk through. Think back in that area that you have confidence, that you knew that you could do it right before you knew that you could do it. Just not at the beginning, but right before that little crossover, that tipping point. What did you experience? What did you do differently from when you first started? And again, the answer is almost always, well, I finally stopped worrying, stepped out, took a risk, did it scared, didn't care about messing up, and learned along the way in the process. And that helped me grow to know. And so that is the very thing right there that I want you to do. And I want you to borrow from the confidence that you have in another area of your life. Oftentimes, myself, when I go to do certain things, I do something that I know that I'm confident in right before I go to do something else. Like, for instance, before I do a podcast, I'll often either play my piano or I will write Facebook ads because it's something that I'm very confident in doing. They work every single time when I do Facebook ads for clients, which is something that I consult and do as a service for people, is Facebook ads. I'm confident that I know that I can do it because I've been doing it since 2009, managed hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars worth of budget in ads in my lifetime. And I know what works. I had confidence. But when I first started out, I was kind of scared. But when I got better at it, I started to just put it out there. I started to test things, test to learn. And for you to increase your income, you have to start to take a risk and step out and do something that you've never done before. You cannot keep doing the same things that you've been doing in the past. And so I want you to borrow from that emotion, that feeling of confidence, from that area that you feel confident in, and then go back to that moment when you started to step out to learn in a new area, in the area that you're working in right now, whether it be your business. Maybe it could be, hiring a coach. Maybe it's listening to a podcast every single day. Maybe it's going through a course that's going to teach you how to go from where you are to where you want to be in your business. Learning is the key that will get you from where you are to where you want to be, because you will get a download and an impartation of what it takes. And so you have to be able to take a risk, do something that you've never done before, and step out. And the next thing that often comes in is with people that I coach with, and even myself, is I've dealt with this, by the way. I'm gonna be real with you. I told a lady that on my coaching call. I said she didn't even think that I had dealt with this, and so I wanted to be clear with people on my podcast. This is an area that I've dealt with a lot, and as soon as I was able to break through that, everything started to click, started to work. Who am I to think that I could do that? Who are you? And you might believe that other people are asking that when you suddenly take a risk and put yourself out there to build a business. You get that pushback. People are like, well, who are you to think you can do that? And this is an area where when our confidence is low, we allow the opinions of other people to nudge us in the wrong direction, to nudge us one way or another. I've had oftentimes where I've had even people saying that to me, and it gets stuck in my head, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I've helped businesses for the last 17 years. I've worked in companies that have been successful, 7 and 8 figures. But can I really go out there and do it on my own? And then when I sit down, I'm like, heck yeah, I can. I know exactly what it takes. I've done it over and over and over again. But this might be in a new area, doing it a little bit differently. And so I can borrow from that confidence, that intuition in this new area. All of us have new things that we try to do. That's why there's also freedom in really finding and honing in on what are you good at? What is your lane? And oftentimes we have a lane in our life that we hone into. I would be willing to bet almost anybody who's listening to my podcast right now is called to be in leadership in some way or another in their life. Because I don't think you would be listening to this podcast if your lane was not to be leading in some way or another, but maybe you have always been a follower. And so that's where that kind of imposter syndrome comes in. You have to start to take ownership over your choices, keep the promises that you make to yourself, build a track record with yourself, and again, borrow from the confidence of what you've done in the past, start to step out, take risks, get a few wins and losses under your belt. You're never going to win without a few losses, my friends. And trying to do it perfect every single time before you step out is going to lead you to failure. Perfection is a standard that is unachievable. Excellence and discipline with consistency produce massive results. And you know what else? Excellence and discipline equate to massive amounts of failure. And that might blow some people's mind real quick. What I mean by that is to become excellent and disciplined and consistent with something, you have to be okay with failing for the purpose of learning in a safe environment. You have to be willing to be okay with putting yourself out there and absolutely blowing it and even looking silly or stupid temporarily, and not being worried what other people think about what you are doing to get to that next level. And so that's why, again, you have to grow in the confidence in yourself and know that you know that you know that you are doing that thing. And when you realize, you know what, yes, I can do this, that's where you've crossed over right there. Because the only belief that matters in this equation of increasing your income is the belief that you have in yourself. Yet so often we are waiting on other people to tell us that it's okay. Other people to validate us that we are good enough to do the thing that we say that we want to do. And we sit there until outside influences, whether it be an award, an achievement, a certification, a person, a mentor, a coach, tells us we're good enough to finally upgrade and move to the next level. I'm here to tell you this, as a coach and as a mentor, you're good enough. It's time for you to grow and move forward. It's time for you to step up your game and get off the sideline and get into the game of your life. And what does that mean? That means not just being a spectator, not just looking at what I want to do, not just being a wantrepreneur where you want to do something, but being an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur means taking absolute risk, being okay and having a failure tolerance because you love the lessons that failure brings. Failure is only failure if you never learn from it and never pick yourself back up. And so if you do that, yeah, you're a failure. But if you learn from it and move forward, not a failure at all. But we have ingrained in our heads that we only have one shot, one opportunity to do the thing that we want to do, that we say that we want to do. And so we better not blow it. We better not, we only have one first impression. We better not blow it. You know what? I'm gonna say this. When it comes to putting yourself out there in business, you're gonna blow it. And that's okay. Everybody does. So every single success story that you've ever seen had a bunch of blow-its that they did before they got to that success that they learned from. Every single one. And so we have to be willing to be okay with blowing it, to learn from it, to grow, to move forward. And once we get past that, now we're at the place of, okay, how do I manage my time? How do I manage resources? How do I get the stuff that I need to move forward? Okay, and then it comes down to, okay, how do I know exactly what steps to take? How do I know exactly what strategy is going to work? That's the area that I love to work with people in my coaching program and consulting. Is I love to dive really deep into, okay, what's the step-by-step, the nitty-gritty, how do we move the pieces around, the chess pieces to get results? Because that's my favorite thing to do with people. And the most effective. How do we manage the time? How do we manage the money? How do we put all the pieces together? And the first thing to do is often, if you don't know what to do, your first next step is to learn what to do. And you might say, well, I don't know where to look to learn. Do you know Do you have access to the internet? There are Facebook groups for every single industry or thing that you could think of on the planet, with tens of thousands of people that are doing the same thing that you want to do, that would love to answer your questions. Okay? There's YouTube videos. That's why I created the Grow Your Life community, was for people to ask questions. You know, I told a friend this, he texted me and he's like, you know, hey, sorry, I'm going to have a lot of dumb questions. And I said, you know what? There's no dumb questions. The only dumb question is the one that you never ask. But we have this society where people are always trying to prove that they know enough and validate themselves. And so we run up against this with people. Let's say that you ask a question and it's a dumb question. You might get answers from people that, to validate their own ego, they try to put you down and say, oh, that's a dumb question. That's somebody that's trying to validate their ego right there. Don't even worry about it. You're probably going to get it. Be willing to ask dumb questions and put yourself out there to learn the things and learn what it takes to get to the next level. It's going to be worth it in the end. I promise you that. We have to, again, get past this area of worrying what people think, trying to validate ourselves. Other people out there are trying to validate themselves with us, and they care more about what we think about them than they do about what they think about you at all. And so once you realize that, you can go out there with confidence in the world and be an encourager to people. Realize and have compassion that if somebody's putting you down, it's because they're somebody that just wants to be validated themselves. And when we grow past that need in our life of needing to get validation, we can do great things. And so ask questions, even if you look silly, even if you get answers that try to invalidate you, like, you know, you're going to get it. Again, this hones right back to the beginning. If you're going to be successful, you got to be willing to put yourself out there, take a risk, look silly, get feedback, fall on your face. It's okay. That's the only way that you're going to grow and learn. And once you start to really hone in on what to do, then people are like, okay, well, what platform should I use? What should I do this? When should I post online? When should I post stuff? What platform should I use for funnels, for websites? Again, that's what the Grow Your Life community is for. Please ask those questions. I recommend for most people that are listening to my podcast, because I stick to it, is Instagram and Facebook are going to be the best places for you to start to get traffic, to put yourself out there, because their ad platform is second to none. It's still the best platform. If you're going to do a lot of cold calling and cold contacts, LinkedIn, you can do that. But I don't really like doing that, and I don't really teach how to do that. And so, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to then validate a product. It starts with believing in yourself enough that you know that you're going after what you want to accomplish, that you're going to stick with it with consistency, with discipline and excellence. And that's how you can then start to increase your income, as you start to learn what it takes. You learn, okay, we gotta have a product. We gotta build a website. We gotta, run some ads. We gotta learn how to communicate. We gotta learn how to sell. Selling is the big one, my friends. For you to increase your income, you're always selling at all times. And that's what episode number 40 I talked about, becoming unstoppable at sales. This episode is where I give you the blueprint to make money in sales, no matter what you're doing. If you're wanting to get a higher income at a job or get more leadership in a job, you're selling to your boss. And so that episode about becoming unstoppable at sales is going to help you with negotiation as well, and communication. There's a great book as well called Crucial Conversations. It's really great, as well as Never Split the Difference. I love that book too. For you to increase your income, you're going to have to put yourself out there. Take a risk, and here's the biggest risk of all. Ask for money. Boom. We're 30 minutes into this podcast episode. If you're still with me, ask for money. And this is the place where then people start to come up with reasons that invalidate why they're not ready to ask for money, whether they don't want people to resent them. They don't want people to invalidate them. They don't want people to think that they're getting ripped off. They don't want people to feel pressured. They don't want... The list goes on. Again, this ties right back to confidence, personal growth. We have to make our reason for making money not be to make money, not be to increase our income. And you have to get past the need to increase your income as your goal. You are not trying to increase your income. You are trying to serve another person, and they give you money for the value of that service. When our focus is how I can make money to pay my bills, the part of our brain that is focused on problem solving is so filled with the fear of not having enough that our creativity goes in the toilet, and we do things that will not get us to make money because our focus is making money. You have to cleverly distract yourself and intentionally get your mind off of the need for you to make money and increase your income for you to ever increase your income. And that fear of I need to make money, once you put yourself out there to do that, that risk, that worry, well, how am I going to pay the bills? Well, how am I going to do that? We got to come face to face with that. That fear comes in because we feel out of control. We feel like we can't control things because we've relied on the certainty of what we can control and know to get us to where we are right now. But once you put yourself out there to make more money, there's a risk of losing it all. You have to be okay with taking that risk to move forward. And there's people that I coach, they've been through program after program, after mentor, after coach that have told them exactly how to make money. And yet I hear all the time, I don't know what to do. I'm worried that if I don't make enough money, I'm not going to be able to take care of my family. I'm worried that people are going to resent me. And they're on a loop that never gets off the ground because they're so focused on what they can't control. They're so focused on trying to do the thing that they think they need instead of doing what they need to do. You don't need to ever make any money. Stop focusing on it. Your goal is how can I be consistent with excellence and discipline to serve another individual and make your income goal about somebody else, not yourself. You are not trying to make money for yourself. You might be saying, well, I just want to pay off debt. Well, okay, great. What happens then? You're going to go back into debt as a motivator for you to make more money so you can get back out of debt? No. You have to then invest and make your dreams and your goals be bigger than just what's right in front of you. Your paycheck, your current experience, what you're currently feeling. You have to live as if you have $1 million in the bank account. That is how you will make $1 million. By mentally putting yourself into the mind state of visualizing it. Visualizing, okay, what would I do if I made $100,000 this month? Where would I go? Dream. Start to have some dreams. Start to have some vision. Start to have some goals. And this might make some people uncomfortable here, But this is what works, my friends, because what's going to happen is in your body, physically, your physiology is going to experience what it's like to do that. And then you know what it feels like, and you can go into the workplace with that physical experience through the visualization. Make your goal be bigger than just what you need. Make it about the impact that you're having and serving. And now you might say, well, I don't know who I'm serving. Great. You need to figure that out. You need to immerse yourself in the world of your target customer. You need to know what they know what drives them, know what keeps them up at night. How do you do that? Well, you literally put yourself into situations that your target customer would be in. You read the books. You go to the places. You talk to the people. You have to put yourself in motion to get a different result than you've been getting up to this point. And you might have a vision or a goal to help some people. This is another common thing that I come up against with people, and you might know what you're going to do, but maybe you've created so many steps, 50 to 100 steps ahead, that you've overwhelmed yourself out of doing step one. Once you know that you know that you know what you're going to do, you have to find your step one. You are never going to get to this place that you're trying to get to of increasing your income without finding your step one, finding the next thing to do, and staying consistent with doing that and absolutely crushing it. Is it doing videos? Is it waking up an extra hour in the morning? Is it starting to record content, starting to record a course, starting to get some leads and making some sales calls, starting to ask questions of people to help you get to that next level, starting to listen to some podcast episodes? If that's the next step on your thing, that's what you have to do. So what is your next step? And that's what I want to ask you right now. What is your next step in increasing your income? I bet throughout this, you've probably been thinking about, well, I need to do this next. Why aren't you doing it now? And you might come up with reasons for why you can't do it. So then you have to go back to the framework of where that comes from, what those reasons are. And if you want to, work with me through that, I can coach you in that area. And that's what I love to coach people with, is kind of diving deep into those little areas that we don't even know ourselves how to get from where we are to where we want to be. Diving deep into what is that next step? What's the strategy to get from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4? That's what I love to help people with. And so you can schedule a discovery call with me on my website. Go to jeremiahkrakowski.com and we can hop on the phone for 30 minutes to talk about your goals, to talk about where you're at, to talk about where you're going, and to create a plan for you to get to that next level. If you want to win a free coaching session with me, this is different than the discovery call. The discovery call is to go over your goals for us to talk about coaching together. The free coaching call that you can win with me is on my Instagram, where you can leave #GrowYourLife on my Instagram. And I pick one winner every single week on Sunday that wins a 30-minute coaching call session with me, where we are going to do a deep dive together through this. Go leave that #GrowYourLife on any post on my Instagram, and I will pick you or whoever else, hopefully, as a winner to win that coaching session with me. I want to help you get past these sticking points. I've hit the point now on this episode where your unique area, I don't know. And so maybe go to my group, go leave a comment, post, hey, I listened to episode number, what episode is this? 43. And you talked about what is my next step? Well, I feel like my next step is this, but I don't know what decision to make, what path to take. That's what I want to help you with. You can leave it as a comment in the group. There's people in that group that are growing and doing the same things as you are. I believe in you, and I know that you can get to the next level, but you have to stay consistent of doing the things that get you there, of doing the next step, of taking the next step, of being consistent. It's not okay anymore for you to keep making excuses why you're staying stuck where you are. You need to move the needle forward. Let's do it together. Grow your life, everybody, and we'll talk soon.